Now this exclusive interview with Sean Hannity and WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. The interview conducted yesterday in London for a period of 90 minutes. Among the many things they talked about, Assange says the Russian government was not the source for emails published by WikiLeaks.
Can you say to the American people unequivocally that you did not get this information about the DNC, John Podesta's emails? Can you tell the American people 1,000% you did not get it from Russia or anybody associated with Russia?
We can say, we have said repeatedly over the last 2 months that our source is not the Russian government and it is not a state party.
That is one of the many headlines coming from this. Sean Hannity is with me now. Sean, good morning to you. A lot of travel. Appreciate you doing this here, and we'll see you later tonight.
Hey, good morning, guys.
At 10 o'clock Eastern Time.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Sean, and to you as well. What do you think your interview added to this story? What do you think you cleared up or clarified?
You know, this interview went pretty much straight through, Bill, for about 90 minutes, and we covered so much different ground. There are so many unbelievable questions. Number one, about the state of journalism, what wasn't covered in the United States, what these emails revealed, his life. I mean, it's a nice picture in the background there, but I can tell you the Ecuadorian embassy is extraordinarily small. He's not been outside to get a breath of fresh air or sunlight in 4.5 years in the embassy, 6 years total. And he's doing it, he would tell you, on principle, and we covered all the ground as it relates to WikiLeaks, and he is extraordinarily adamant that, in fact, no state party, no government. As a matter of fact, I asked him, did you ever talk to Vladimir Putin? No. Did you ever talk to any of his surrogates? No. Did you ever talk to Donald Trump? No. Any of his surrogates? No. Would you have given this information, revealed this information, if it was about Donald Trump? Yes. So there's so many different things here that he is revealing, and not the least of which is that this entire narrative we have heard post-election, he's telling us is absolutely positively false. I used words like manipulation and propaganda. He was a little more generous in his description of it. At one point, you know, when he's using the words about Barack Obama was acting lawyerly, I think it was a polite way of him saying he's lying and he's manipulating the story. And he talked at length about how he believed it was an attempt to delegitimize Trump's victory.
Now, a couple specific questions here. You've spent time with him now in person. A few weeks ago, you had him on Radio 2 for an interview. So you've gotten to know him much better than, well, any of us. John Bolton last hour said he doesn't believe a word he says. Do you?
I believe every word he says, to be perfectly honest. I have great respect for John Bolton. And here's the bottom line. What did he reveal here? Two things that I think come out of this, that if we looked at it from the proper perspective, and there were things, look, I was a very early critic of him. He's well aware that I thought he was waging war on the United States. My opinion on it has evolved in large part because of what I have seen that he has done in 10 years. Nothing he has published has ever been proven false. Nobody's even questioned the veracity or truthfulness of what he's doing. He gets information, just like the New York Times got information about Donald Trump's taxes illegally. They still ran with the story. They still published the story. I'm convinced that any media outlet that was colluding with the Clinton campaign, they would have run with the story. So the two things what the United States ought to take out of WikiLeaks is, number one, as a country, we do not have cybersecurity, and if we don't fix it, we'll never have it. The second thing is, I think he exposed at a level I never expected. Now, I'm 30 years in radio, Bill. My 21st year on the Fox News channel. I have been a staunch critic of government and government corruption all of those years. And what we learned in this election is how deeply corrupt, more corrupt than I think any of us would have imagined, the level of our politics is, and collusion with media outlets and campaigns. There is not objective journalism in America. And, of course, the media doesn't want to cover that story because it exposes them. Yeah. And when you see CNN is feeding questions to Hillary Clinton before a debate, or they're asking the DNC for questions for Donald Trump, well, that's a level of corruption. That's trying to influence an election. One other point. If we're worried about influencing elections, why did Barack Obama take $350,000 from the State Department, fund a group in Israel, send his political operatives to Israel to try and defeat Prime Minister Netanyahu? I mean, there's a big double standard here.
This headline about him saying it was not a state actor or a state government or the Russian government, could it have been an arm that was working on behalf of Moscow?
Well, I was
did you ask him that specific question?
Every which way I could possibly ask that question, including a report that had come out in the Daily Mail about a friend of his that went on the record and said that the actual information was handed personally over in a wooded area near American University. And to me, it was a moment that he felt some frustration about, but he wouldn't confirm or deny it. And this was a source within the Democratic Party that was disillusioned because what WikiLeaks revealed about how they totally colluded and betrayed Bernie Sanders in the nomination process, and also what he felt was dishonest and corruption as it relates to the Clinton Foundation. So that's a story that I think had been underreported as well, because
I mentioned you spent 90 minutes with him. Just in the moment we have left here, Sean, this was one of your last questions to him about whether or not the President of the United States was telling the truth, or how he was parsing his language, etc. This is how it went. Watch here.
He's acting like a lawyer. If you look at most of his statements, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say WikiLeaks obtained its information from Russia, worked with Russia.
He's saying Russia's trying to influence the U.S. elections. Yes.
So and you also note that he doesn't say, from the statements that I've read, he doesn't say that Russia was trying to influence the election for Donald Trump.
There, in a nutshell, Sean, why is that so significant coming at the end of your time together?
Yeah, I think he was. I asked him to speak directly. What would you say to Hillary Clinton? What would you say to Barack Obama? What would you say to the incoming president, Donald Trump? You know, he has first of all, his knowledge of American politics is at a level that most constitutional scholars would admire. He's a person that knows our Constitution fully and completely. He's read the Federalist Papers. He understands American journalism. I thought it was a gracious way of saying that the president is purposefully lying and manipulating for political gain, which went back to an answer earlier, which was they were trying to delegitimize Donald Trump. But what I took out of it is, you know, he really sees the government is corrupt fundamentally. And his theory, which I happen to agree with, is that more transparency leads to more competency, and more competency leads to more faith in government. And his message basically to all three of them is open up the government to the extent that you can. He understands the need for covert operations and plausible deniability, but open it up more and you'll see more competency in government, which I think goes to the heart of what we've experienced the last 8 years, more secrecy than any other president in history.
We'll see you later tonight, okay? Version 1 tonight.
Good to
Sean, thanks for doing this. Watch Hannity tonight, part 1 of his exclusive in-person interview with the founder of WikiLeaks, right here on the Fox News channel. 10 o'clock Eastern time, your way later tonight. Some more segments on Wednesday and on Thursday later in the week. So fascinating stuff, and we'll see where it comes down.
Yep, we'll look to that tonight.